This show is brought to you by Databril, the scalable Amazon PPC management for large Amazon sellers and brands. Visit sellersessions.com/agency for more details. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Today I bring in Micheal Hartman. Hello Micheal, how are you doing?
Not too bad, Danny. How are you?
All good, all good. Do you want to let the audience know a little bit of background on yourself?
Yeah, my name's Micheal Hartman. I'm in Bucharest right now. I have a team out here. I've been working on Amazon for about 4 or 5 years. The company name is Innoventic, and basically we do managed services in PPC. And right now we're managing around 40 accounts, roughly 2 million per month.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, so guys, what we're going to talk about today is product image optimizations. There's a lot of areas that I want to kind of cover because it's not just straight up photography. We already know that Amazon customers eat with their eyes. So Micheal, let's go through some of the elements of the different types of photos. So we're going to discuss photography, renders, lifestyle images, technical images with annotation, infographics, competition comparisons, offers, but let's start with the main image.
Well, the main image, we try and keep it as much of TOS compliant as possible. Because if a competitor is just going to scroll on a search and they're going to see you're not TOS, you're going to get reported. So shadows are accepted. We keep the white background. But one thing that we do is we try and take everything out of the box and lay it out so they look like they're getting a lot of value for the money. They're getting a lot of things, and also include the packaging in there. You know, if you have a pretty box or something like this.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. So you're looking to fill up the whole of the screen. Of course, it's still on a white background. Right. And what about props? Do you try and sneak in a prop from time to time to differentiate from the other images?
So that depends on the demand and the market position that we have. So on like higher demand products, we really don't risk it. Yeah. On low demand products, then yeah, I mean, we can put the 2-pack in, these other things. If you're doing the 2-pack with like that little Amazon logo, we've put in other props and other stuff, but it really just depends on you know, if the risk is worth the reward type deal. On low and medium demand, we'll consider it. On high demand, we don't yeah. mess with that at all.
Because basically it's just going to be competition, just shopping their competitors really, isn't it?
Exactly. So especially if you take up like the first position on a main keyword on that, you're going to get reported every which way from Sunday and you're going to get pulled down.
Yeah, makes total sense. The other thing is I would suggest here is making sure, depending on how much bandwidth your image has of what you're taking up, cropping for mobile is really crucial as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to make sure that the vertical side is full up and down so that Amazon doesn't crop the remaining white, yeah. You know, especially for the mobile. So always check your listings on mobile and make sure that they're appearing correctly. You know, that's very important.
Cool. And in terms of another thing which is against TOS, but it depends. If you go and get a shitty guy off Fiverr to do 3D rendering, then it's not going to look realistic. But some of the rendering artists out there now is phenomenal, the work that you can get. So what's your take on 3D renders? Are they playing a big part in your business?
Well, they have, you know, started to pick up quite a bit in the past year. So we have a photography studio in-house, and then we have like 3 3D render artists. And from our experiences that the render artists are getting more busy than the photography. Yeah. The stuff that we're producing is very lifelike. You couldn't tell the difference, especially if you're running color variations. You can change everything really quickly. You don't need any photography. If you want to do A/B testing, it's much faster with the 3D render once it's built to put all these things into different lifestyles, different images, to dissect it, to show the different layers, especially if it's electronics, or maybe if you're doing, for example, let's say bed sheets or something, you can like actually dissect the bed sheets and zoom in and do these kind of things.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. So you're saying it's playing a big role now. I think as well, one of the things I found is that I've just started experimenting with them. Even if they didn't get used as final shots, they've been great to jump between the 3D artist, the designer, because it's all flat files, you know, PSD or AI files, and the print company that's setting up your cutters and plates and stuff. And just to make sure that you're getting the right finish and that there's no issues there. The other thing it's good for, as long as they're realistic enough, and I mean like really good, then if you're doing brand registry and stuff, you're going to want to get your website finished. If it's a new brand, new launch, new product, you've got to get your photography done now. Then you've got to make up all your technical images with annotations and stuff. So that tends to buy you some decent amount of time. The only downside is if you get the photography done and you don't nail the lighting or the background shots on the white background, then you may have to go back and re-render the 3D image based on the photography shots or a physical product.
So we do a lot of like Shutterstock images, and we Photoshop those 3D renders into those, and you can never tell the difference.
I agree with you. And that's down to the skill set though, isn't it? It's the same with the 3D artist, right? You go and get someone off Fiverr and pay 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. The work is piss poor generally. Yeah. It's the same with.
You're 100% right. You know, you have to have quality when you're doing 3D renders, or you'll get reported for using a 3D render.
Yeah, and it's the same with the like superimposed lifestyle images. They can look really crass, can't they? Badly cut out, you know, let's just say you're doing aftershave bottles or something like that. You know, badly cut out, superimposed onto a background on a really poor, cheap stock image and stuff, and it can look really bad. So there is a skill to do it, but if you can nail it, like you said, pretty much you wouldn't. It's not that you don't need photography, but you can get away with doing much less photography than you once could.
Yeah, so for the finishes, we use photography. So we take a picture of the image or of the product itself to get the texture and everything else to make sure that we superimpose that texture directly onto the 3D model.
Right. Okay. So you're using a blend of both onto the background to the stock image or whatever the layers that you put in the background.
You have to make sure that you have the texturing on the model so it looks realistic. Every day I have people coming to me with crappy 3D models, and we're fixing the texturing and the other stuff. They might be able to build it and shape it correctly, but getting the texturing to make it look realistic is another skill set. And there's only around 2 people in the company that I trust with that at this point.
Yeah, makes total sense. Walk me through some examples of lifestyle images, because I think this is the toughest one for most people, because you need props most of the time. You need like models, as an example, depends on the shoot. But this is normally the most costliest element, I would say, to get right.
Yeah, so a lot of the lifestyle images we do, believe it or not, are not actually photos. We're taking the 3D models, different Shutterstock, and photoshopping them together.
Right, gotcha.
This is it. We do some lifestyle images, and here in Romania, shooting is much cheaper than in the US or in the UK. Yeah. So we're able to get actors and other stuff pretty, at a decent price.
Yeah.
So for instance, we're able to offer different packages for photos starting at I think it's roughly $500 with the models included.
Yeah. And give me some example of what people should be able to portray with the lifestyle images.
You want to show for the lifestyle images, you really want to make sure that you're showing how they're being used, that it's going towards their target audience. If you're selling a baby pillow, you want to show a baby in the pillow, laughing and being happy with the mother sitting next to it or something like this. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're showing it in everyday use, that it suits a need that they have. Yeah. That they need to keep their baby not from rolling over or these kind of things.
Yeah, totally. There's a bit of health and safety involved there as well. And exactly. I suppose it's the same like if you, I alluded to aftershave earlier. So it might be someone who's standing in front of the sink with the aftershave on the side and he's tapping the aftershave onto his face.
Exactly.
Basically giving you a realistic look, or some sort of tooling like drills or something. If you were to sell drills, not saying you should get into that market because there's too many big brands, but drilling a wall, for instance, and changing the drill bits and things like that makes it more realistic and engaging for the audience. Is there anything you do to make images pop? Is there anything like special effects tricks that you do just to get?
Well, we use a lot of text annotations. We use, bubbles or dots with lines that show the features. So if you're using the aftershave, we could draw a line to the face saying that it'll clean the pores and get rid of gunk or smooth face or these kind of things. Yeah. So we do this in the feature images. Yeah. And maybe depending on the product, we might add some, shading or scaling of the background to draw attention to the feature that we want to show.
Yeah, makes total sense. So how many would you say out of your 8 or 9 images, what would you say is enough in terms of lifestyle? Do you have like a minimum of 2 or 3 to work from?
We have around 2 or 3. It really depends on the product and how many uses that product has.
Yeah.
For instance, Instapot has like 1 million uses.
Yeah.
So maybe I would use more feature images, but with text annotations, a lot more text annotations. Where if you're selling, an umbrella, maybe I would use less, it really depends on the specific product.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And what about the use of infographics? Do you go in depth there and take some like compiled research data? Is there anything special?
Exactly. So we've really tried to like do we do comparison charts a lot.
Yeah.
Our product versus the competitor's product.
Yeah.
And so we try and show, like, do a checkbox, green and red, of what we have and how we do like a card stacking argument, how ours is better than the competitors.
Yeah.
And these kind of things. So if you're selling like something, resistance bands, you can say how yours is BPO free and the competitors isn't, or something like this. They can withstand pressures up to more kilos than the other person.
Yeah, and I suppose the other thing is that you got stuff that's in bottles, and you got your bottle's 100 ml, but then the competition on a similar price is on 30 ml and 60 ml. You compare that way. Is there any other types of comparisons that you would do? Like, would you say, like, for regulations, cruelty free, not tested on animals, all these different?
We do in the health and beauty. We do that. So we do cruelty free. We started doing something else, which is really cool, which is a portion of the proceeds goes to a nonprofit, and we'll tell the story about that nonprofit. So if it's like a child or a baby product, we'll try and say we'll give a percentage of the proceeds, which is normally 1% or something like this, towards children with autism.
Yeah.
The other thing that we tend to do is display our entire brand, either on the last image or in the infographic. So the other models that we carry, or the other products that we carry, so we cross-promote each other.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say about offers, do you do any discount codes or coupons or anything like that within the offers? Like taking a corner of the image, put it in red, 50% off your next order, or?
No, because it compromises the whole family of products. I know about this.
Yeah.
You can do this. You can get reported for this. And like in supplements, at one time it was really big. But then supplements is such an aggressive market that you really have to walk a fine line of what you can get away with and what you can't, because you're going to get reported.
Yeah, no, totally. So obviously, there's stuff here that's within TOS. There's some stuff that's is a little bit naughty. And then obviously we're going back to the renders. If you've got amazing renders and you can't tell the difference, it's hard to be non-compliant, if you like. But what do you do in terms of structuring to tell your story? You already know that you work with the main image and the white background. What's image number 2 for you?
Image number 2 is the display image with the features, Yeah. So we go there and we look at that, and we try to use the text annotations of what features it has versus, other stuff. So if it's, for instance, like a jewel skin, I'll go over this because we have the Amazon Choice Badge for jewel skin. We go show those features.
Right.
And, we're able to, show that we have a 2-pack, about how it's scratch resistant, easy to apply, these kind of things.
Yeah.
So.
And then what's number 3 and 4 for you?
Number 3 and 4 is normally like the lifestyle images come. So we show the size of the product, report other project objects. We show the activities that it's being used in. We try and create an emotional response so that they're going to want to buy this product.
Yeah, makes total sense. And then the remaining images, like, do you find them as much, they're not important, but because they're further down the food chain, they're less likely to be clicked on?
Yeah, so on the remaining images, we normally do show the entire product set for the family of products that we're doing.
Right.
So if you don't have EBC, then this is normally where we can cross promote the other products.
Yeah.
What we're selling. So if you're selling, a cell phone case, then maybe you can show the cables in the other one.
Yeah.
So, and then maybe you have like a discount code, not on the images, but on the listing towards the bottom, where you have an offer, buy 2 products, get 10% off. And if they see both, then they're more likely to convert on both.
Yeah.
And then you'll get the frequently bought together, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, makes total sense. I mean, I think if you've got products where you don't necessarily have a family of products built out yet, I mean, what I find can work on some listings is like, obviously you've got your main image and you adhere to that. Sometimes there's slight props in there. It might be that something gets tipped into a box or a bowl or something just to show that movement, but it's not overpowering the shot and it's not non-related per se. And then I found the second image is always good, is the infographic. So it might be all the different uses for it, which is quite handy because people don't expect like a kind of graphic. They're expecting an image on the second or the third or the fourth. Does that make sense? So
no, exactly.
That element of surprise can work. And then I would maybe run into like 2 or 3 lifestyle images which actually show the product in use. And then you flip over onto your technical annotations and you finish off with your comparison. You know, if someone's got bottles and it's based on size or it's based on weight, you can take other products, but obviously just silhouettes of those products rather than your competition's product with their branding on.
Exactly. We're always A/B testing like different rearrangements of the photos because on some situations the lifestyles go better on the second image. On other situations we put them on the last. So we're always testing different things across different categories. So we have like some rules of thumb based on the category, you know.
Makes total sense because I mean, split testing obviously is a slightly different subject, but ultimately you want to be able to test your images. So what would you do, say, to the listeners in terms of how would you encourage them to, you know, test? Because it's all well and good getting nice images, but you don't know what you're optimizing for. So how would you benchmark and test those?
So we test the images and then we're changing. So we only change one image at a time or you know, rearrange them. And we're testing one data point at a time. Normally, if we don't have a good conversion rate, the first thing we're looking at is the main image, you know? So what's going on there? Then we're looking at maybe the features images. Maybe under the features where we're using the text annotations, we're not fulfilling their need. We're not explaining why they need this, you know, with the text and the lifestyle. So we're trying different things based on the category. So if you're doing resistance bands, we want to show that, you know, they're capable up to, you know, 80 kilos or something like this, or that they're BPO free and that they're, you know, there's no choking hazard, they're not going to fall apart, that you're giving a guarantee, maybe show a bonus, something like this. Even though it might not be a bonus for you, it's just something included. We might just say bonus just because it helps. Oh, I'm getting something for free. It makes people happy. You know?
Makes sense. And in terms of, we kind of covered the main images there. When people are expanding into EBC and stuff, what kind of imagery are you covering there? And how many images are you tending to use when you're setting those pages up?
We're using around 7 images in the EBC.
Right.
We're using some text as well, depending on what you're selling. So let's go back to like, for instance, umbrellas. If you're showing umbrellas, you can show the features of that umbrella, but also show the different colors that you're selling of that umbrella. So then maybe they're going to go buy a different color. Even though they landed on one listing, you know, if they're separate or they have different things, you can show the gambit. You know, if they're different parent listings or if they're parent-child, you can show all the features there. So, and we want to try and make it look as easy as possible to use and how durable or how convenient it is.
Yes. Makes total sense.
And we always put a satisfaction guarantee on all the EBCs. So whether it's 1 year, 90 days, 30 days, we want to make sure that they know that they have our backing, you know, to trust the brand.
Yeah. Makes total sense.
You know, and also in the EBC, we're doing the, you know, if you're working with the charity or getting a portion of proceeds in there as well, to really promote that. So if you're doing the baby product and you're giving a portion of proceeds to children with autism, it's really going to hit harder. The conversion rate normally goes up. Yeah. Because people like feel-good cases.
So talking of conversion rates, what kind of uplift have you seen, just like, as you said, you're testing in isolation, because there's no point messing around with pricing, your images, your bullets, because you don't know what to relate the tests to. But what kind of lift have you seen across the board when you're experimenting with doing split testing the images?
I know you won't believe me, but On one account, we actually doubled the conversion rate to around 80%.
I can believe that, because images, I'd say titles, images, and price, they're the biggest needle movers in terms of conversion. Like bullets are great and etc., but they're further down the food chain. But no, I can quite believe it. As I said, Amazon customers eat with their eyes.
Yeah, no, I mean, so just adding EBC to an account, to a listing that didn't have EBC, you'll see like a 5% boost.
Yeah.
And messing with the images, you can normally get double. Is from our experience up to. So whatever you're converting at, you can normally double that conversion rate. So we've moved from 8% to 16%. We've moved from like 16 to 35. And like the best one we had was like 38 to 86, which was just insane. So, and that's just from redoing images.
Yeah, makes total sense. I mean, one of the interesting things, an interesting conversation I had with a consultant that is based over in Germany, really knows his stuff. And what he does with enhanced brand content, he keeps it to a minimum. And his theory is that if the page is really long, the more you have to scroll, the further you're moving away from the buy box, which is quite an interesting concept. You know what I mean? So you could build these beautiful landing pages with great copy and everything else and all the imagery, but you are taking the customer further and further away. In some cases, they've got to scroll back up. I just thought that was an interesting theory.
No, that is interesting. Yeah, I don't know about that one. We don't do super duper long EBC content, so we keep it, I would say in the medium category as of length, but that is definitely interesting. So we also use the EBC to cross promote, other products. So
yeah, makes total sense, especially if you work like you seem to work with like a lot of larger brands, so they've got quite a broad SKU set.
Yeah, I mean, so when you're working with thousands of SKUs, the more you can cross promote, the better off you are. If you're working with 7 SKUs, you can still do the cross promotion. If you're working with 1 or 2, you really can't. It depends. Yeah. So from our experience, working with smaller PL or like home run hits, as I call them, like, top 100 BSR in overall category where they only have 1 or 2 SKUs, you can't really cross promote. Yeah. So you really want to show the features and images and just try and get them to convert. But when you're working with bigger brands and you're looking at the overall picture, not just the one listing, it gets a little different strategy.
Yeah, makes total sense. Is there anything you'd like to add before we go?
If you're going to do 3D renders, just make sure that you get them done correct and the texturing is done, because if not, it looks like garbage. It'll actually hurt your conversion rate.
Yes.
So, I've seen that as well. I've had people tell me, well, we did 3D renders, but our conversion rate went in half, and then they showed me their images, and it's like you said, something from Fiverr. I mean, it looked like something you would see on Cartoon Network. It didn't look like an actual item,
Definitely. What's the best way people can reach you? Email, website, etc.?
So they can go to innoventic.com, or you can email me at michael@innoventic, INNOVENTIC.com, and get a hold of me there. If they have questions about 3D renders, PPC, or photos, even managed services, let me know.
Sounds good. Excellent. Guys, thank you for joining us today. Michael, thank you for joining us. We'll be back again soon. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Take care, and we'll see you soon.